Good evening, and may the force be with you. Good evening, and um, sorry about the little audio hiccup. That's why I do audio testing. Yeah, I forgot to turn off an alert on my phone, but we're here now, so. Alright, so my phone should not bother us again. So we're starting about 30 seconds later into the start splash screen than I usually do. Why am I wasting more seconds talking about it? Let's get right into it, because this is exciting. I don't often do midnight streams. And this is particularly interesting because I've already done a stream earlier today. I'm doing another Lego Star Wars stream. I'm trying to clear some space on my build queue shelf because some of my, I have several Lego Star Wars back orders that I placed a while ago, some even last month, that they were back ordered, so I had to wait longer to get them, and I finally got ship notification on two of the three, so that I back ordered, and these are big deal Lego. These are going to be big boxes. These are big sets, so I wanted to clear some space on my build queue shelf because, as you know, my Lego collection has been going into overdrive recently. So I did one of my Lego Star Wars sets earlier, and I'm about to do another one. Why did I call this stream Midnight Mandalorians? Well, because I'm doing the Mandalorian Starfighter. In universe, this is what would be called the Gauntlet Starfighter. The Mandalorians also have another starfighter called the Fang class, which may even be more well known. And I think that one has. I think the Fang class starfighter came in a 2-pack with a Imperial tie. I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. But this is this is what's known as the Gauntlet, and it comes with 3 Mandalorian figures. You know, I kind of semi-unofficially have a couple Lego mini Star Wars minifigure collections going on. I have quite the Astromech R series collection going on. I have 8 different, actually. Once I build the other set I have sitting over there, I'll have 9 different R series Astromechs, and none of them are the most printed R series Astromech R2D2. I'll get him eventually. But I also low-key have a collection of different Mandalorians going in my Lego Star Wars minifigure collection. I have, this will bring me up to a dozen different ones. I have both Jango and Boba Fett. I have several generic Mandalorians in different armor colors from the battle pack. I have Sabine. I have a couple other Mandalorian characters. I have Mando himself. And you know I'll be getting a lot of copies of him because they put him in everything these days. Since the Mandalorian show came out, they've put Mandalorian in like half of Star Wars sets. It's really crazy how many times they put him in. So, yeah. But this set is not him. This set comes with the 3 other Mandalorians. We have 2 named characters. Gar Saxon. He is one of the Maul Mandos. And then we have Bo-Katan Kryze from the Night Owls. She also appeared in the Mandalorian show in seasons 2 and 3. And then we have the Mandalorian Loyalist, who's wearing standard generic blue Mandalorian armor there. So yeah, we're going to be doing this Starfighter tonight. Not too substantial build. It's about 500 pieces. So fairly normal for a Starfighter type ship. The one I did earlier today was about 1,000 pieces. Oh, and I see we have a Brett. Long time since I've seen you on this channel. Hold on a second. I need to do something. I've been wanting to do this for a couple months here. You now have you now have mod on this channel. I've been wanting to do that for a few months. Yeah, you have the sword now. And that's actually pretty helpful to me because I actually get spammers once a stream, and now you can take care of that while I focus on the Lego when the spammer shows up. But without exception, I get like one bot during the first hour of almost every stream. So if you can take care of that for me when that happens, that would be great. So yeah, here's what we're doing. And actually, because you weren't here earlier, let me show you the one I did earlier, because that's Lego Star Wars 2. This is the one I did earlier today. This is the Coruscant Guard gunship. It came with 2 Coruscant Guard troopers, which I made into the pilot and the gunner. And that's Commander Fox in there. And then if you go on this side of the transport, 2 rare characters. We have Padme and Chancellor Palpatine. Padme, they've only done about a half dozen times over the entire quarter-century history of the Lego Star Wars line, so she's quite rare. And Chancellor Palpatine, they don't do a lot. They do Emperor Palpatine more than Chancellor. This should have been about a 3.5-hour build, but it took me just over 4 hours because there's a lot of fancy techniques going on inside with this one. A lot of Star Wars vehicles have some fancy techniques going on inside. Let me go put this back aside. All right, but that was then. This is now. All right, so this is now. This is the way, as they say in Mando. Hold on one more second. I'm having a little situation. I'll be right back. And Brett, while I'm up and showing you things, let me show you a teaser for what's probably going to end up having to be an August project at this point. This. I got this. So anyways, now I'm back and let's get into this stream. So this is the Mandalorian Gauntlet Starfighter, and I am planning to get the other Mandalorian Starfighter, which I think is a 2-pack, but that one's also long retired. So when it comes to the retired inflated Lego Star Wars ships, less prioritizing those while I still have a wish list at lego.com itself. I'm focusing on the currently available sets so I can get my discount points. Yeah, the plan for D&D is it comes with 4 instruction books, so I'm planning to do a 4-part stream over the course of a week. That's how we're going to do D&D. But because that requires a week-long commitment, I probably won't be able to slot it in until August. Because of the other big project on my channel. Here, let me tease that real quick. Now, if you go on my YouTube, In about 5 minutes, my Saturday stream video should go up. And that's the first part of this series that I'm doing. Lego Harry Potter. The big one. And that's going to be a series on my channel for a couple weeks. I'm doing big Harry Potter project over the next couple weeks. But not this week because I have to do Mario tomorrow and soccer on Thursday. But here it is. I keep talking about other Lego. Let's get into tonight's, because technically this stream is unplanned. This stream isn't even really on the schedule. So let's just get into the build already. So front of the box. And then of course here is the back of the box. And this shows how the wings fold up for landing mode. And I have ideas for that because you can see in the product image that landing mode features the underside of the wings, which aren't as cool as the top of the wings. But I think I know of a way to fix that and make it look better. And it shows that there's a bunch of moving parts and stuff. A lot of Star Wars ships have moving parts. We'll play around with landing mode when we finish this ship, I think. I'm going to go ahead and break these tabs now, and we will get right into it. Yeah. Right now, I only have 2 regular size sets in my Lego Star Wars build queue, but I also have 2 other smaller sets in my Lego Star Wars build queue. I need to clear space on the Star Wars part of the shelf. That's why we're doing this. So we of course have the paper instructions, which you know by now we do not use. We do not use the paper instructions on this channel. And it looks like we have 4 bags. And we have this little sticker sheet. And we have 6 stickers on here. So not too terrible. When it comes to stickers, you want low sticker per part ratios. And with 6 stickers across just over 500 pieces, that comes out to about 1 sticker every 90 pieces, which isn't too terrible a ratio. It would be better, of course, to have 0 stickers, but you know the Lego Star Wars team is not going to do prints, or a lot of prints. So here we are. And I always leave bag 1 out, and because when we pull up the instructions here, hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, everything seems to be going properly. Yeah, everything seems to be going properly, so we have the instructions up. Yeah, I was concerned about getting the D&D set because, you know, it was on back order for most of its life and it's about to retire. But yeah, it's in hand and I don't have to worry about it anymore. So here we are, where we have bag 1 ready to go. We have our instructions up in the corner. And it does show us the brick separator page, so we are getting another separator today. And this kind of tells you how the build's going to go. Bag 1 is the core of the ship. Bag 2 is the cockpit area. Bag 3 and 4 are the wings. So we're going to go ahead and open bag 1, which is going to give us our first character. Oh, cool. This is cool. We have both a helmet and a hairpiece for Bo-Katan here. Bo-Katan Kryze is the leader of the Mandalorian Night Owls, which is one of several Mandalorian factions featured in the Star Wars series. This set specifically is from her Clone Wars appearance, but Bo-Katan also features prominently in The Mandalorian, which is New Republic era. Let's see, which pieces do we need? We need the antenna. And because we are doing a Mandalorian set, I'll keep our little bag of accessories out in case we need it for other figures later on. Usually, I just take what I need and dump them, and dump the rest into the spare bits bowl, but I'm going to leave that out till we reveal the last character here. We're going to have 3 of these figures, so until we see the 3rd figure, I'm going to leave the accessory bag accessible. So let's go ahead and start with Bo-Katan here. I will put, like most Mandalorian characters that I have in minifigures so far, she gets a jetpack because that's a Mandalorian cliche. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to put on the hairpiece first, and I will show you angry action face or neutral smile. I think we're talking about Mandalorians. I want to show the action face here. I'll put the hair on and show you the figure. Then I will take the hair off, put the helmet and guns off, and leave it in a full suit configuration for the evening. So there's Bo-Katan with the hair. And now let me get the helmet and the guns, and we will do the full look here. So it looks like she dual wields the guns, which is cool because a lot of Star Wars characters seem to be doing the dual wield thing. So there is Bo-Katan, fully suited up and ready for action. And like I do with all the streams, the characters can sit in the front of the table and watch the build. And I will take this little hairpiece and I will set it aside for when I do set up the set storage bag later. And I think we are ready to go with the build itself. Let us begin. I don't normally do 2 streams in a single day, especially the day after a big long marathon stream, but I'm trying to work through my queue a little bit efficiently. I do want to slow down a bit though, so that I have some builds left for the slow season. Because there's VIP coming up at the end of the month, so I'll be getting a bunch more builds into the queue when VIP week comes around, but then I want to hold on to budget for a while until the next big Lego drop. So there's also, of course, the new Pokemon wave coming out soon. I did a pre-order for a few of the sets, but I actually want most of the Pokemon wave, so I want to be ready for that. And who knows what I'll find Tuesday. Tuesday we're going out to Columbia Mall. And there's 2 stores in Columbia Mall that sometimes have newer retired sets. So who knows what I might walk home with on Tuesday. So okay, we're going to do a bit of an assembly here. Well, everything we do on Lego is technically an assembly. By this I mean sub-assembly, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying. It's midnight. So Brett, do you have video call capabilities? Because if you do, I've got something really cool I want to show you tomorrow. Android's fine. I have an Android. I mean, depending on how you feel after stream, I could even show you after stream if you're really into it. But more likely tomorrow. It's whatever you want to do. I'll be up for a while. It would help if when I have Technic in the instructions, if I actually do them correctly the first time, especially with Technic involved. Because Technic mistakes are a pain to fix if you don't do it right the first time. And Technic instructions can be confusing. So if you want to see cool stuff, I can either do after stream or tomorrow. Well, it's going to be tomorrow either way because we just passed midnight, so it technically is tomorrow. But when you see... Oh, wait, it's doing something here. Oh, it's supposed to be attached to this thing already. I didn't even notice that because the picture was entirely unclear there. Alright. We're back in business. There is a Star Wars preschool cartoon, believe it or not. And I did get the 2 Lego sets for that. They're sitting in the build queue till I watch one episode just to see what it's like. Because when I heard Star Wars for preschool, you know I didn't believe it, so... But apparently it's a thing. And, Yoda is prominent. Yoda's a main character. And other than that, right now, there's only 2 other sets in my Star Wars build queue. But 2 of my 3 back orders are coming in this week. And who knows what I might find when I'm at the mall on Tuesday. And then, of course, VIP. Although, I have my planned shopping cart for the double points at the end of the month. And I don't think there's any Star Wars on it. I'm focusing on the sets that are retiring at the end of the year. Because if I knock those out now, then the rest of my wish list doesn't have a time frame on it anymore. And I can just get them whenever. So, I don't think my double points order is going to include any Star Wars. But the 3 sets I have on back order, iconic and important for the fleet. So we do have some nice stuff coming for for Lego Star Wars, even though that won't be part of my double points order. If you've seen the new Mandalorian movie, don't talk about it because we're going on Tuesday. That's why we're going to Columbia Mall. So don't spoil anything. If you haven't seen it yet, well, that's cool too. Well, that's not cool because you're the Star Wars person, but if you haven't seen it yet, you should get to it because it looks like show times are diminishing across the board at most places. Trying to see how everything yeah, that's how that lines up. So let me press this into this pins, and then I can go ahead and do that again on the other side. When Technic pieces are involved in the instructions, I always go a little bit slower so I can try and make sure I'm doing it correctly. Because like I said, mistakes on Technic parts of the assembly are a lot harder to fix, generally speaking, than mistakes on regular system pieces. Alright, I think that's how it's... yeah, that looks like the picture. I don't know if you've been watching the YouTubes, but I did do my final Mario Kart set last week. And then on my last 3 tabletop interactive Mario sets that I'll be doing Monday, which is technically later tonight, but because we've crossed midnight. So Mario Monday tonight and 2 more weeks to just get that wrapped up. And then I won't have any more Lego Mario on the channel. Although there's a rumor that we're supposed to have minifigure scale, regular minifigures with a Smart Play for Lego Mario in 2027. If they bring Lego Mario back as a Smart Play theme, I'll definitely try out that version. I already have Smart Play stuff. I don't know if you saw my Lego Star Wars Smart Play stream last month. And the Pokemon's doing Smart Play, so I think it's a cool system. Yeah, the Star Wars sets weren't... a few of the Star Wars sets had their issues, but with any new technology rollout, you're going to have a few hiccups. I want to see what Pokemon does, and I rather liked a few of the play features on the Star Wars Smart Play, even if some things weren't quite perfect. I'd rather Lego try to innovate and try new things and stay relevant. I mean, well, they're always going to be relevant. I'd rather Lego innovate and try cool new things than get stale, you know? So even though the Smart Play Star Wars wave had some issues, I rather liked some aspects of it. And, for a Star Wars diehard, I can see why some bits of it would be considered controversial, but there were some play features that I personally liked, like the Cantina. The Cantina plays the song, and if you use a smart figure, they sing the song. And I don't know if that counts as a spoiler or not, but that's really cool. And the Millennium Falcon, the hyperdrive engine lights up. I mean, there's some cool stuff in there. And the lightsaber duel, that was a really nice feature. So yeah, some bits of the Smart Play had issues when trying to interpret Star Wars, but overall, they got a good start, in my opinion. And the Pokemon sets, they're going to be using Smart Play, so the new Pokemon sets that I just pre-ordered. Alright, which way is the picture facing? Now things are starting to get confusing. Let me focus for a moment here. Alright, yeah, that's how we go. Alright, we have our first sticker of the night here. Let me see here. I can't wait to see what the Smart Play does with Pokemon. Oh, and guess who the Smart Brick set is for the Pokemon Smart Play wave? Because when they do the Smart Play, only a couple sets have the actual Smart Brick, and the rest of the sets are just Smart Play compatible. And you have to buy the brick. You have to buy the other set that has the brick to actually use the Smart Play features in the sets that don't come with it. And the Smart Brick set for the Pokemon wave, of course, is Pikachu. But the one that gives you two Smart Bricks, Jolteon and Charizard. Two of the really big Generation 1 Pokemon names. So yeah, I definitely pre-ordered that one. So there's the sticker. And I pre-ordered a couple other ones from that wave as well, and put the rest on a wish list. I'm also planning to keep current with the Speed Champions, but I haven't ordered those yet. That's a bit lower on my priority list, but since I'm maintaining a complete Generation 2 Speed Champions collection, except the F1 series they did last year, I skipped that part of it, but because it's 10 cars that pretty much all look the same except for color scheme, so I wasn't really interested in doing that. But the cars this year, I want to get back to doing all the cars when it comes to regular cars, so I am. There's also a set that I got that is not branded Speed Champions, but it's in the same format as a Speed Champions car, basically the same style. So I'm considering that unofficial Speed Champions. I'm not sure if that's going to be a stream set or one of my off-stream sets, but if I do it on stream, I will definitely mention it then when it becomes relevant. So much stuff in the build queue in the small sets as well. I have an Indiana Jones stream coming up at some point in the future. Who knows when I'll slot it in. I have a 101 Dalmatian stream coming up. I still have that Lego Retro Gaming stream that I've been planning to do since they released the Lego Game Boy. The hold up on that is I'm waiting for the conversion kit that makes the Game Boy playable. The organization that's doing it, they just started the rollout in Europe, and they're not going to start shipping in America until they project September or October. So once they start sending out the kits to America, that's when I'll be doing that stream. I have two smaller Lego sets with the retro gaming theme that I'll do, and then we'll do the Lego Game Boy as the main event. And then at the end of the stream, we're going to do the conversion kit and make it playable. Okay, I'm missing. I have two pieces out that aren't usually spare bits. So I definitely skipped a step somewhere. I need to go back. I'm talking too much. I need to go back and see where I skipped a step here. So I have that layer. I have that layer there. Where did I skip? I have that layer. Okay. That's where I skip pieces. Alright. I'm glad to have found that so easily without having to take a lot of time on it. Alright. The pieces that I forgot are in place. And yeah, alright, good. Alright, now we can go back here. And bag 2. Bag 2 gives us our Mandalorian Loyalist, this character is called. Doesn't look like they use any of the accessory bits. Alright, another little bag here. And let's go ahead and set the windscreen piece aside. So yeah, alright, we're ready to start bag 2. Let's go ahead and start with our Mandalorian Loyalist. So this is actually a retired set. The Coruscant Guard gunship I did earlier was also a retired set. This one I actually have found. They finally opened a Bricks and Minifigures in Maryland a couple months ago, and Glenn and I went to check it out a few weeks ago, and that's when we got. That's where I found this set, and then that whole scandal came down with Bricks and Minifigs. So who knows what's going on with that? I don't want to talk about that on this channel, but the Mandalorian Loyalist, like most Mandalorians, gets a jetpack, and this one also dual wields the blasters. So yeah, this is actually one of several sets that I picked up at Bricks and Minifigures. There's also a Starfighter 2-pack over there. That features another R-Series, not R2-D2, R-Series astromech droid. It's funny, that's going to be my 9th R-Series astromech droid in my LEGO collection, and none of them are R2-D2. So anyways, here's the Mandalorian Loyalist. Basically Bo-Katan's co-pilot. And we'll sit him down here. And we will continue with the build. And this is going to be a separate assembly, so I'll set this to the side here behind the instructions. And we will focus on this part of the assembly now. So in addition to the 2 Star Wars sets, I almost picked up a third. I had some extra money that day, and I almost picked up a third LEGO Star Wars set while I was there. But I knew it was already going to be an expensive day, and I was picking up some LEGO Harry Potter stuff as well, and I didn't really want to go overboard when I knew that there were some orders to be made at Lego.com itself. So I did miss out on one retired set at retail price, but when I was at Bricks and Minifigs that day, but that's okay. That set would have been low on my build priority anyway. It was high on my wants priority because of one of the figures in it. Um, but considering it would have been low on the actual build priority, I decided it can wait. I did finally get, I did the build off stream, but I did finally get my first ever Han Solo minifigure last week. And with Han Solo, my second Chewbacca, and my first my first regular C-3PO. Actually, not regular C-3PO because it was the Smart Play C-3PO, but my first standard actual C-3PO. I do have the Rebuild the Galaxy Bounty Hunter Evil C-3PO. But I finally got my first figure of classic C-3PO. So I have two different C-3POs. And neither one of them is the normal figure. One is the alternate Rebuild the Galaxy version, and one is the Smart Play version. I still don't have any R2-D2s, but I have 8 R-Series astromech droids. 9 if you count the set I haven't built yet that I got from Bricks and Minifigs. The Coruscant Guard gunship was not Bricks and Minifigs. That was a Whatnot auction. But I do look for good deals on retired sets because Lego Star Wars tends to inflate a lot on retired sets. Who knows if I'll ever get that Ghost. I missed retirement on the Ghost because I prioritized the Enterprise, which was coming out at the same time. And my budget was a little bit more limited that season. So there's a hinge base here that does not yet connect to anything. Usually when you see a hinge base, it's either for a moving part or a part that's going to be at a specific angle. Okay. So there's the top of the hinge. We got the hinge plate going on. I need to find that in my parts pile so I can build on it. That's cool. So that slow piece is actually a printed console. if I can find it in this parts pile. It's printed on a gray slope. Okay. If I can find... Well, this tile has to go on too, and if I can see this, I may as well put that on before I forget about it. And now let's go back to finding that gray slope piece. Lots of gray in this parts pile right now. That's part of what's slowing down the search process. There, I think this will be it. Yeah, we found it. So there's the printed console. I like that Lego has a... Oh, I forgot a piece somewhere again. So this will clip into the hinge like that. And now let's go back. Where did I forget a piece? Oh, I see what I forgot to put in. Okay. So yeah, I can't put that on just yet. I need to put these in here. And then I can put that on. Alright, there we go. Fixed the missing piece issue again. I keep doing that. I was making a lot more mistakes than usual on my stream earlier today, too. I must still be off of a high from the Saturday stream. Saturday's stream was epic. It was still only one little piece. The Saturday stream was massive and epic, but it was only one small piece of the project as a whole that it kicked off. So, yeah. My Lego collection is in true overdrive right now. I mean... I've even got the 3 Lego paintings upstairs. I mean, my Lego collection has become insane since you last saw it. It would help if I used the correctly facing wedge. Alright, that's on. And then we get a tile. And a little slope. And we turn over here. And we put this here. And then this section will attach to our assembly. How exactly? Well, first you want to make sure you're facing the right way. And then, once you're facing the right way, it becomes obvious. This is the way. Now we have to build the matching section for the other side. Okay, that's on. Okay, this piece. Sorry I stopped talking. That just means I'm more focused on the build when I stop talking like that. I can build a little more efficiently when I'm not talking at the same time. Just to let you know, when I finish this bag, I will be doing my stretch break before we go into the bottom half of the ship. So if you come back and nothing's happening, it's because I finished the bag. Okay, that section is on. And this section's really coming together nicely. It's got a beautiful shape going on. Nice core of our ship here. This is definitely one of the more unique looking starfighters in the Star Wars line. Alright, these go here. that's there. Okay. Alright, this goes here. And now I just gotta figure out what's going on here. We get these pieces. Wedge. Okay, and then we have a stud shooter going on here. Alright, I need to test it. I always test the stud shooter when I attach the trigger. Yeah, that did not fire off correctly. Okay, this one's not firing correctly for some reason. Alright, oh yeah, this is the Alright, I need to figure out why the stud shooter is not working. I want to make sure when I do stud shooters that they do work as intended. Before I integrate this into the build and becomes inaccessible. Now, it's not like I'll be using it anyway. Let's just go on. Actually, I want to be 100% sure. Okay, right now I'm trying to troubleshoot a stud shooter because I like to make sure that the stud shooter is working properly when they get assembled. And for some reason this one does not seem to be doing so. It's not like I'll ever use it, but I still like to make sure it's working, so I know from the picture that I did put the trigger piece in facing the correct direction, but this is the older style stud shooter. So, this is a spare bit stud, so I don't care if I lose it or not. I just want to make sure. I'm gonna put it on and pray it works when it actually comes time to do so. Let me actually try attaching this, and then yeah, let's try doing it that way. Let's attach it and then attempt it. I want to make sure it's working. So the stud shooter is in the place it's actually going to be, and yeah, it works just fine when positioned correctly on the vehicle. So even though I never use the stud shooters for play or display, I do like to make sure that the triggers are working because you never know. You never know when a situation may come up that I need to defend my Lego collection. So the plan is when we finish this parts pile, when it tells us to go into bag 3, I'm going to take a stretch break. And then we will proceed on with the second half of the build, which will be just the iconic wings. Alright, now we're doing the other stud shooter. And I'm going to, lesson learned, I'm going to wait till we attach it before I put it on. Before I do the test. I don't want to waste any more time than necessary on stud shooter testing, since I never use them anyway. I always test them, though, whenever they come up on a build. Let's get a stud out. Stud is armed. And yeah, that one's working just fine. And I don't care that it fell on the floor because it's from the spare bits bowl. Alright, so now it shows this section attaching to the other section. On this big ball joint, okay, so that explains how we're going to get the cockpit rotation. So this starfighter is going to have both cockpit rotation and folding wings. A lot of Star Wars vehicles have moving parts. It's kind of a Star Wars cliche. You got your X-Wings. In the original trilogy alone, you've got X-Wings and you've got the Lambda shuttle that does moving parts. You got so many Clone Wars and prequel era ships, sequel era ships, Legends, and extended. It's a cliche. We'll leave it at that. In terms of starship design, this is one of the more unique looking Star Wars starfighters that I have seen personally. However, the most unique looking ones would be the X-Wing TIE Fighter mashup from the Rebuild the Galaxy sub-series. You can actually swap the TIE Fighter wings onto the X-Wing cockpit and the X-Wings onto the TIE Fighter cockpit. It's a really cool feature. And now we have the grill slopes going onto this section here. And this is going to go onto the back of the ship there, like that. Three stickers on the cockpit, because of course there are. Alright, give me a few minutes. Stickers are a little bit of a pain, and these are going cross transparency, which means I want to make them as straight as possible. The first try, if I can. I've been getting better with Lego stickers, though. Yeah, that one's came out pretty clean. Now let's see if I can get the other one. Usually for cockpits, they give you prints. I think this is only the second or third time I've seen stickers on a Star Wars cockpit. And Speed Champions, they usually print the windscreens as well, but I have seen stickers on them a couple times. I've even seen one Speed Champions windscreen, I forget which car it was, where it was partially printed, but there was also a sticker you also had to put on it, so I don't know what was going on with that. There we go. I didn't do that too badly. So there, that's pretty straight for me when it comes to Lego stickers, actually. So we'll attach that onto there. And then we go on to the bottom of the craft here. And it has us putting these on the bottom here. I guess these are just to stand it up in a reasonable manner here. You can see how it rotates around like that. And bag 3 is going to start with the wings. So before I get into that, we're going to take a quick stretch break. I will be back in about a minute. Alright, I'm back. Never underestimate the importance of a good bio break during a long stream. Health is more important than, if you don't stay healthy, your stream's not going to last very long. Let's go straight into bag 3 here. And I'm actually going to do something, because the spinning nature of the cockpit, that tells me that this ship's going to do cool stuff in flight mode. And because of the way the wings fold up for landing mode, I'm actually going to try to put the wings in opposition on opposite sides so that we can actually have the finished looking side of the wings forward for landing mode, if it will let me to, if it will allow me to put the wings on in reverse. Because it does the spinny thing for actual flight mode and the wings go sideways, it really doesn't matter what side is top and what side is bottom when landed. The Ahsoka's Jedi Shuttle did that cool trick too. You know, like Anakin says in Episode 1, let's try spinning. That's a cool trick. And I see it uses these big joint pieces that I previously saw in the Transformers set. I did that one off stream. And that one was an experience, believe me. Alright. There should be another joint piece, dark gray version. See, there's a lot of big pieces in this parts pile. So if I pull the big pieces out, it's... There we go. We found it. Okay, so if I take this into here and pin that into there like that. I'm trying to see how this joint works. So that's how the wings are going to attach and fold up there. Nice clicky ratchets there, so it'll be a sturdy connection. And then we press that in to lock that. And now I'm actually going to set this off screen a little bit so we can focus on the wing assembly over here. I'll probably do this the same way I did the gunship earlier, which is I'll probably build both wings and then attach them, unless there's things in the instructions between the wings, in which case I'm just going to go sequentially. But I'm going to try and mirror the wings for better landing mode appearances, if it will let me do that. I've never done on-the-fly modding of a Lego set like that before, but if it's easy, it makes sense for this model. Where is this tile that I'm looking for? There it is. It was buried under stuff. Now Tuesday will be out, and Monday and Thursday are spoken for. Wednesday, I might do, if I feel like doing super marathoning all week, I might do small streams on Wednesday and Friday for the big project. Depending, of course, how I feel, I may need to take a break. The last 3 Mario sets for the Mario Mondays, those are big sets. And then the set I'm doing Thursday for soccer, that's going to be a big set. So, and then of course we have the really big set that we're doing over the weekend. So I may just take Wednesday off. And pick up with the other project later on. dark gray wedge facing the other direction. This is the one. And then we just have a simple stud going on right there. This goes in under here like that. That one goes there. Okay, this is cool. I see, in addition to everything else in this parts pile, there is also a flick fire missile tube. I want to make sure I'm placing everything correctly. So this ship has both stud shooters and flick fire missiles. We do not have the flick fire missiles yet. They'll be in the next bag. But I generally don't test those because I know those work. And those are powerful, and I don't want to break things. So I generally don't test the flick fire tube. Well, I do a little bit because I like to make sure that they're loadable, but I'm very careful with the testing. I don't always test them. But the flick fire missiles, they're definitely bigger, and they can definitely do more damage than the stud shooters can. So I don't always play around with them, and I never load the flick fire tubes once we're past that initial setup. Oof. This is these are dark colors, so sometimes it's a little harder to read the instructions, but I'm getting there. And now we're making that, now it looks like we're making a big blue, bright blue stripe against the dark blue wing. I always like when they do plate and tile based color blocking and don't rely on stickers. The other set did a little bit of this too on one of the panels. But yeah, plate and tile color blocking is always a fun time. There should be one more little blue. There it is. And we have made this beautiful blue stripe across the wing there. Like I said, I like when vehicles do things like that. I put that one in the wrong place. It goes there. And then this one goes there. There we go. Now let's keep going. All right. Okay, and then this piece. All right, this wing's coming together nicely. It's a pretty looking wing so far. And because this is a midnight stream, and I've already done so much streaming this weekend, and because I have another stream coming tonight, there is not going to be a bonus build when we finish this. We're just gonna finish the Mandalorians and call it a night. I do have plenty of small sets I could use for a bonus build, but the main thing was getting the some space onto the Star Wars section of my shelf. So we accomplished that goal today between these two sets. So we do not need to do a bonus build tonight. The small sets shelf, that still has a little bit of space on it, so hold on, the instructions are doing something tricky right now. I need to see what I'm doing. It's dark blue against dark blue, so let me focus in. I used the wrong wedge piece there. That's why nothing's lining up. All right, we're back in business. Okay, now we got to work on the back side of the wing here. Okay, it looks like this lines up there. And then take this here. And these are going to be the connection points. And then get a pin. Well, maybe these aren't directly the connection points based on how that piece went, but we'll see. Yeah, all right, yeah, this is coming together nicely. Something is not lining up correctly. I put this big wedge on incorrectly. That's what the problem is. Easy fix. Now this piece should line up correctly, which it does, and we can move on. What's going on here? Oh, I see what we're doing here. This is where we're going to attach the missile tube. We have here the flick fire missile tube, and it just attaches to the bottom of the wing like this, and we'll have a matching one on the other side. These things are dangerous when loaded. With some vehicles, they actually hide the missile inside the vehicle, and they put it in a trigger mechanism, a button you can press to launch the missile. Other ships, it all depends on the design of where the tube is going to go, of course. Other ships, the missile tube is exposed, and you just tap the back of the missile. But even just tapping it makes it launch at full power, so we got to be careful. I don't play around with the missile tubes too much, especially when they're exposed. This wing just keeps going and going. But yeah, there's an end in sight to this parts pile. Hey, welcome back, Incurable. Yeah, so I did Lego Star Wars today. This is actually my second stream today. Earlier this afternoon, I did the Coruscant Guard gunship, and right now I'm working on the Mandalorian Starfighter. I'm doing Mario Monday night, which is tonight, of course, after I get some sleep. Because I want to knock out my last 3 big Mario sets, because Lego's not making them anymore. And I have World Cup starts on Thursday, so I have a soccer build for Thursday, and then next weekend I'll be back on the big project. I had to clear some room in the Star Wars portion of my build queue shelf. That's why I did 2 streams today. I would have doubled them up and done a super marathon stream, but I wasn't feeling a marathon and I didn't know if I'd be able to do the midnight stream. So here we are. I don't usually do 2 streams in a single day. But yeah, if you want to see all my past Lego builds, It's on my YouTube channel of the same name. Oh, I have 3 of the boss sets left. They're all retired. I have... Actually, one of them isn't quite retired yet. Tonight, I'm doing the Bowser airship. It's funny saying tonight when I haven't even gone to bed yet. So, but yeah, it's technically Monday because we're past midnight. So I'm doing the Bowser airship, and then I have the newest iteration of Bowser's Castle next week, and I'm going to finish with the original version of Peach's Castle 2 weeks later. They did 2 versions of Peach's Castle over the 5-year Lego Mario run. I've previously done the second version on the channel, and I'm doing the original bigger version of Peach's Castle as my very last Lego Mario set. Did I get that all? Yes. Did I do the tiles? Yes. But yeah, the big project that you saw yesterday, that I probably won't be getting back to till the weekend. But of course, the weekend means another one of the big sections. And I am tracking those wizarding portraits. I did find out after stream, when looking up the tiles that I got, that I did in fact get the Hufflepuff tile. So I went ahead and swapped her into the Hufflepuff common room. And I have the Ravenclaw tile on standby for when I do the Ravenclaw build. And because I looked up the tiles, I know which ones are Gryffindor and Slytherin, which ones to watch out for, so that I can have them ready to swap in when I get to their houses. But I don't have those tiles yet. Oh, I did all those pieces. We need to be on this step. I'm a Mario interactive completionist, except for I did not get the starter set remakes because those felt redundant to me, and I already had the interactive figures. And I didn't get the big statue sets either. I just got the interactive tabletop sets. But other than those, I'm a completionist on that series. Okay. Looks like I missed a couple pieces that are not usually... I missed a couple pieces here that are not usually spare bits. Let's go back on the back here. Did I put a blue plate in under this big piece? I guess is the big question. I did. So that's all correct then. So where did I miss a blue plate? I missed a blue plate somewhere. Got that one. There is a 2x1 dark blue plate on this parts list here, but I can't tell where it is in the picture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's that. There's the wedge. I'm trying to see if this is the step I missed it on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think this is where I may have missed. But no, it's 1. I'm not sure it's... No, I definitely put the plate on there. All right, let's keep going. Where else is there a dark blue plate? Any gaps in there? No. So this is all the way back when we were doing the stripings. And there was a blue plate here. There is a gap there. So yeah, this says that this was supposed to go in right there. I found the missing spot. Yeah, all right, so there's one other piece that I need to find out where I skipped it. So we figured out that gap. I want to make sure, yeah. So these do line up there. And then there's one other piece here that is incorrect, that is not placed, that should be placed somewhere. We have this little wedge. And I'm just looking around to see if a wedge is anywhere. Gray wedge, so it would be on the outside, on the front. I see where this one's missing from. I see where I forgot to put it on. We're good to go. All right. Now this shows how we attach it to the ship, but I'm actually going to wait, and I'm going to do the other wing and then attach both wings at the end, because I have an idea for this. You'll see what I mean. So bag 4 is going to give us our final character for tonight. This is Gar Saxon. And there's our flick fire missiles. I'm going to go ahead and take these missiles and I'm going to take our missiles and just set them aside, because those things are dangerous. So this is Gar Saxon. He's from another Mandalorian faction. And actually, this group is what some fans call, and I like this term, they're called the Maul Mandos. And you'll understand why when you see this armor. So let me go ahead and put him together. And like all the Mando figures tonight, he too gets a jetpack. Lego Star Wars hands out the jetpacks to Mandalorians like crazy. But then again, there's very few jetpacks outside of Mandalorians. So I'll show you his face first, because he does have a human face under the mask. And then we will put his helmet on. No alternate hair. This guy's always in his helmet. But that's what his face looks like. And now we can put his evil looking helmet on. And he gets a single blaster. He doesn't dual wield like our good guy Mandos over there. But sometimes they give you an extra blaster when it's the small blaster. So if I'm going through this parts pile and there's a blaster left over, he'll get to double wield two later. But right now, he just single wields, according to the picture. So this is Gar Saxon. He's the leader of the Maul Mandos. This is from a period of time where Darth Maul took over one of the Mandalorian factions. And then they styled his armor. They styled their armor to look like him. So this is a Maul Mando, and I've got to say he's probably one of my cooler Mandalorian style figures in my collection now. I'm glad to have this guy. I like characters that look different, but still recognizable. So that's a Maul Mando. And let's get on with building the... before I build the fourth wing, I do have to create this little joint piece. I forgot about this, but we'll bring this ship on. I could just turn off screen and attach the wing to the ship like that. So let's go ahead and attach the joints here. There's also, I see, studs for the stud shooters. This may just be a simple starfighter, but it's got stud shooters and flick fire missiles, as we saw. Alright, now the joint's done. I'll set that aside, and we can focus on our space on doing the second wing. Because once we do the second wing, we can play around with our wing positioning. Because this ship does cool things with its wings. And I want to make sure we're getting the best look possible. Considering this will be displayed more than played, so... if it's possible to do the thing, I'm going to do the thing. In terms of favorite Mandalorian, coolest looking Mandalorian armors in my collection right now, I would say this guy and also Sabine. I do have a Sabine figure from the Ahsoka's shuttle. Ahsoka's shuttle also does a similar thing with the rotating cockpit. This ship does that too. So it's interesting that my two coolest Mandalorian figures came in the two sets I have that do that. You... I'm probably at the end of the year going to pull out my about 30 of my best sets and do kind of a state of the collection thing on the channel. I very much want to do something like that, but the hassle for some of those sets to prep them for a stream, I mean, it's not really a hassle, but if it's not sets that I'm already displaying, then it's going to be a lot of work to set something like that up. And I can't tier list my whole collection. It's just too much now. Did I do that? Yes, I did do that piece already. Okay, so I did that piece and that piece. All right. Then we just keep going with this piece. I will say uh, this ship has some of the coolest wing assemblies amongst my Lego Star Wars collection. So far, at least. Like I said, I've got some big stuff coming to my Lego Star Wars collections. I got some back orders that are coming this week. I got another one that's due at the end of the month. Lots of Star Wars happening in my collection right now. And also, I'll be doing some Lego Disney soon. I am planning to get the new Disneyland Main Street at some point, but it just released, so I've got time on that. So I want to make sure I get my sets that are retiring this year first. Once I get those out of the way, there is no time frame for the rest of my wish list, and I can just get them whenever. But if I knock out the 6 sets I have left on my wish list that retire this year, then I won't need to worry about them anymore, and the rest of my list is not time sensitive anymore. So then, of course, there's the retired wish list over on Bricklink that I have to go to eBay, Bricklink, and other sellers for, and that's going to be a pain. But I'm not even thinking about that list yet until I finish the list at lego.com, because I want to focus on the sets that can get me the discount points. Lots of cool stuff coming to the channel and my collection. Alright, where are these 2 pieces? Okay, I think it's there. It's hard to see dark blue against dark blue in these instructions. My favorite Star Wars ships are, well, of course, the iconic ones, but also the ones that aren't plain gray. So much of Lego Star Wars, well, so much of Star Wars is plain gray. So you'll notice, if you go across my Star Wars collection, that I'm trying to limit the straight gray. Although, for some iconic vehicles, straight gray is unavoidable. I have 2 iconic straight gray ships coming as part of my back orders. And even though I'm not really a fan of straight gray, I'm really excited about these 2 in particular. But I don't want to spoil them, so you just have to imagine. I think that's showing there. Yeah, there are some sets that I'm only going to try if I can part out that have inflated too fast otherwise. But there are some things on my wish list that I think are manageable. I mean, if Lego themselves is charging $200 to $300 for some of their sets, then I can definitely justify that for some of the things, some of the retired things I want. Certainly I can't justify those prices for everything, though. Not even at Lego. But there are certain vehicles that I really like that I am willing to overpay for once my actively available wish list is gone. And then there's some things that there are some things that were on my Lego wish list itself that retired because I had to pick and choose because my budget does have limited periods. And so a couple things retired when I was going for the Enterprise. And so I ended up missing them. And Coruscant Guard gunship was one of those. Let's not forget that tile there. Coruscant Guard gunship was one of those. There was one of the other things in my Star Wars build queue right now was one of those. There was another Star Wars set I did a few weeks ago on that list as well. So yeah, sometimes it is worth it. But for me, I want to make sure now that I was able to budget for a lot more Lego than usual this past season, I just want to make sure I hit my retiring wish list. If I finish that by the summer, then I won't have the end of year rush, and then I'll have the untimed sets that I can just get whenever. So my wish list is back on track, and I shouldn't miss anything due to retirement ever again. But there's still the ones that already retired that I have to go back and get. So if that makes sense. And then there are some things that retired, like that are recent enough that like within the last couple years that retired before I really kicked my collection into overdrive, and then I only just learned about like a year after retirement when they already inflated. I have a couple sets like that on my list as well. But the main thing is that my Star Wars fleet is as varied as everything else in my Lego collection. I have a nice collection of city vehicles as well that I'm working on. I have 3 of the Lego paintings. I have a little bit of Lego architecture going on. I have a little bit of everything in this collection, except I haven't really started Ninjago yet. There's a lot of Ninjago that I want. Ninjago looks cool. I want to get into it, but there's so much Ninjago, I don't know where to begin with that. So I'm thinking Ninjago is going to be a 2027 project for me, because by then my Star Wars fleet will be respectable. My the big project going on. I mean, I'll need another Lego project for 2027. So catching up on Ninjago might be it. There's also some retired Disney sets I want. So that's going to be a project that's going to come up in the later after the summer. I have too much open Lego projects for the summer right now. But with Mario behind me, that'll leave a slot open for another big Lego collection. I may use that slot for more retired Star Wars, actually. Just because there's so much that I want from the retired portion of Star Wars. For Ninjago, so far, all I have is the Dragonstone Shrine because I had gotten the two garden sets that were out at the time. And that set, I felt that set was like garden adjacent. It looked like a similar vibe, so I went ahead and got that because it looked good next to my garden sets. And there's some other Ninjago sets, both classic and new, that I want. I want the Old Town. I don't think I'm going to go in for Ninjago City, but I want the Old Town, and I want I want a version of the Temple Bounty. You got to have that if you're going to do Ninjago collection. And there's one Legacy Ninjago Dragon I want to try and get because that set looks really cool and has one of the most unique minifigures I've ever seen. And that's the Water Dragon from a while ago already. That one was like 5 years ago already. But of all the Ninjago dragons, I saw a video about all the past Ninjago dragons. This was like a year ago, so it's an obsolete list, of course. It's not complete anymore. But of all the Ninjago dragons that were featured in that video, that's the one that really caught my attention. So I definitely want to try and get the Water Dragon. And maybe a few other dragons as well. Because I want to get some of the Ninjago mechs as well. They look pretty cool. I actually am getting a collection of Lego dragons. I have a few really cool Lego dragons built, and I have several Lego dragons in my build queue right now. And I may do a shelf of dragons once they're all done because I got a lot of them. But my brother and I are having a little bit of disagreement about one thing I want to put in my dragon collection. I agree with him. That's not a true dragon, but it's dragon adjacent. So I want to make sure I'm using correct pieces here, of which that wedge was not. We want this wedge. That sounds cool. You have to send me pictures when that's done. I don't really do mocks. I mean, I have some mock ideas, but I'm not really... I haven't really sat down to try them yet. I have an idea for a stackable diorama modular cube where it's basically just a framework, and you can put in you can put in a plate on the floor in the back, in whatever color you want to set your scene, and then you can decorate the cube however you want to make a little scene. And I was gonna do a mock of 22 of these cubes and make a set of the Tarot Majors, but I haven't really started that project yet. And I haven't tested my cube for stability yet. I haven't tested my design. I don't even know how I would begin with something like that. So, but I do have a rough design on Studio. And I figured out it would take about $15 to get the parts on Rubricable. So, or Bricklink. You don't get the parts on Rubricable. You get instructions from Rubricable. Bricklink is where I go for parts. We're actually going to try an on-the-fly adjustment with this set when we attach the wings at the end, because of this ship's feature of what the wings do. It seems like the right thing to do, so we are actually going to try to customize this a little bit. Okay, something is not lining up properly. All right. So we have a 3x3 there. That was a me problem, not a build problem. We got it. So yeah, when I do get to the Dungeon and Dragon set, that's going to be a 4-part stream, but I want to do it over the course of a single week. So because there's so much going on the channel already, I'm pretty sure that's going to be an August series at this point. Maybe July, but I've got a lot of personal stuff going on in July and early August, so I'm not sure how much I'll be able to stream during July. Alright, I see where that goes. And then this piece goes there. But yeah, if I finish the other project end of June, Dungeons & Dragons could work in July. Possibly. I was looking at Bricklink because I don't log a set to my inventory till after I build it. So all the sets in my build queue I don't consider in the collection yet. But I was going over my Bricklink inventory, and I'm over 150,000 pieces total. I've been doing a lot of big sets recently. I would not call this set a big set. It's only about, it's a little over 500 pieces. This is not a big set. This is a small set for me. Alright, let's begin. We need to keep setting this up. I got that piece. I got those pieces. Alright, we're good. I'm trying to be extra careful so that I don't forget pieces again this time. And these studs for the stud shooter are getting all over the place. You know what? We've already tested the stud shooters. Let's get these studs out of here. Alright, there's our stack of stud shooter ammo, and I'm just going to toss that aside, out of the way, because it keeps getting in the way over here. I do like that Bo-Katan comes with swappable hair and helmet, but honestly, I'm just going to keep her in the helmet for now. Alright, so this is the step on which we will be attaching the missile tube for this wing. And like I said before, those things are dangerous, and we are not going to be playing around with it too much. Another big ongoing project I have is collecting the CMF, the numbered CMF series, which I'm doing as kind of a countdown. And I'm also collecting the new ones as we go forward. But it's a low priority project, so I do it as I can. So currently the next CMF series I will be trying to complete is Series 20. I've already counted down to 21. And then so Series 20 will be next. And then once I secure Series 20, I'll be going after Series 19. I want to have all the numbered CMFs. I'm going to skip Mr. Gold, though. There is no way Mr. Gold fits into budget. I might get one of the knockoff Mr. Golds, but that's the only knockoff I would do, honestly. I don't like Lego knockoffs. But I think for Mr. Gold, it would be worth it. Alright, so we have this piece here. Alright, that one goes right there. And then we have this piece that goes right here next to the, yeah. And then this big wedge. It does look like we're almost done arranging the wing here. And then all we have to do is attach the wings to the ship. Alright, we're probably going to finish this at just under 2.5 hours, which is pretty much what I predicted it would take me to do this set. So we're doing good. Actually, it's a little more than I would have predicted for this set. But it is late at night, and I did go slow at times because of all the dark colors in the instructions. So, considering I did slow down quite a bit at multiple points during this build, it makes sense that I'm a little bit behind my estimate. I was behind my estimate for the other set today too, so not a big deal. So here we are with that. We just passed 2 o'clock in the morning here, which it's a midnight stream, so I knew that was going to happen. And this goes right here. If I line it up correctly, it'll go there. Alright, that went into place correctly. So now there's just this piece, which gets the last sticker. And it's very rare when the last piece in the set gets the last sticker. Usually the sticker comes in a few pieces before the last piece in the set. But there is our final sticker. And what were the other stickers there? All right. And this one just goes over the engine block like this. And now, of course, our empty sticker sheet. We can scrap that. And now we can bring the ship and the other wing back, and we can figure out how we're going to do this. Now, this ship has spinning cockpit. So when you fly the ship, the wing actually goes sideways like that. And also, the wings are going to fold up for landing. So instead of putting the clean side of the wings face up in the picture like it shows for right now, because this is going to have to go on my shelf in landed mode. In landed mode, as the instructions tell you to put them on, you get this side, the underside. But of course, the top side of a Lego Star Wars wing is always cleaner. So because this ship does the spinning cockpit folding wings thing, I'm actually going to put the wings in opposition of how they show up here. And I'm going to put the undersides of the wing face up from straight like this. And it does appear like it's letting me do this. Let me make sure all the pins feel connected on that side. So now, with the main core of the ship upright like that, and the cockpit upright, yes, you do, looks like it's the unfinished underside, but because when you go into flight mode, you go sideways like that. And actually, let me turn the instructions off. This shows the stud shooter studs that I've already set aside. This shows the missiles that I've already set aside. And this shows how you fold the wings. And here's some ads. The Bad Batch shuttle. That's one of the cooler looking shuttles in the line. It's already inflated to like $250. I see the AAT that retired a few years ago. That version of the Jedi Interceptor retired a few years ago, but I have the newer Ahsoka version with the Crimson. You can see here the 501st Super Battle Pack with the ATRT and Speeder. I did that. That's in my collection. And you can also see here the Throne Room Duel with Ahsoka and Maul. I did get that one. It's one of 3 Maul figures I have in my collection, and 3 Ahsoka figures I have in my collection. Over here, this shows the Bad Batch figures. That's some Mandalorian figures. But I don't have that set. I have a different Mandalorian set that wasn't featured in these ads. I'm not even seeing what the Mandalorian set would be. Up here, there's some troopers. You can see in the middle the Ahsoka and the Maul. You can see some more Mandalorian figures over there. Over here, down here, in the bottom right corner picture, you can see Gar Saxon, Bo-Katan, and the Mandalorian Loyalist from the set we're doing right now. And here's an ad for the game. Okay, so it looks like the instructions are done. So let me turn off the instructions, and we can get the whole screen space to explore the ship now. So when you turn the cockpit sideways, you have the flight mode of the ship. And of course, the Ahsoka shuttle does this too. So you can have it the wings sideways like that for flight mode. And then you can either show the underside or the top side. And actually, because it spins, you can actually... Wow. Maybe not. I forgot there's an underside to this little bit here. But because it spins, when you're in flight mode, you can have your top side And here's the best part. When you fold up the wings for landed mode, by putting the wings backward like we did, when we put it into landing mode with the wings folded up like that, we get the cleaner looking front sides of the wings showing for landed mode instead of the unfinished looking undersides. But trying to see how exactly landed mode is supposed to work because the ship doesn't really line up. The gears aren't straight, or the gear pads, I should say, aren't straight. But yeah, it looks like here it's just leaning forward a little bit like that. So yeah, I think that's how it's supposed to go for landed mode, except of course backwards to make it look better. Because this is how it's going to be on my shelf, I'm going to keep it like this, but I'm going to swap it back to correct facing, I think, if I'm ever going to do a full-on Star Wars display. But yeah, that's what the ship looks like in landed mode. I think the idea of spinning cockpit is cool. You don't see a lot of gyroscopic ships like that in you don't see a lot of ships like that in Star Wars in general. But Ahsoka Shuttle does this, and that's the set that comes with my Sabine Wren minifigure, which is another one of my cooler looking Mandalorian figures. Of course, being done, we do not need the separator anymore. I'll set that aside. And I think for purposes of raid out display, I kind of want to show it in a flight mode, just because it's a more iconic look for the ship. But let's see. The undersides don't look too terrible. But they're not as clean as the front, but it still doesn't look too bad. And I did it like that because of how it's going to have to go on the shelf until I get it into its bag assignment. But for the raid out display, I think it looks better to have the wings laid out. So we're going to have the undersides. Not a big deal. It still looks, they still color blocked decently, the undersides. It's just not quite as clean looking. But definitely not bad looking. The underside for the Ahsoka Shuttle, definitely not as clean as this. So they did okay even with the backside for this one. I just think that looks a little bit better for our raid out. So let's see, any musicians still on at this hour? Yes. But that one blocks raids. Ooh. Yay, okay. One of the musicians I like, he's recently been doing a lot of gaming, and so I haven't been to his stream much because he's hardly been doing music anymore. Let's take one more last look at the characters real quick because Mandalorians are awesome. This is Bo-Katan, and she does have a hairpiece if you want to expose her face. I have the hairpiece set aside with the stud, with all the ammo. So this is the Mandalorian Loyalist. And this is Gar Saxon, our Maul Mando. So those are our figures. And this ship is flat enough that I can almost comfortably type the raid without much effort. So let me, except I'm hitting incorrect keys right now anyway. So let me go ahead. Brett, I'll call you tomorrow and I'll show you the beginnings of the big project that we were talking about. So I'm going to try to raid that guy Kuyasai, because he used to be a music streamer. Now he's mostly a game streamer, and his but his it looks like he is doing music tonight, so it'll be nice to see him again a little bit. He does musical theater vibes, amongst other things. Rock, pop. He's one of the talents on here on YouTube. Don't know why he's throwing away his music for games, but at least he's doing music tonight. So have a good night, and I will be back Monday night, as in tonight, after I get some sleep, for Mario, my third to last big Mario boss level set. And then after that, I'll probably stream again for soccer on Thursday, and we will be back with the big castle project over the weekend. And we'll slot in some more Lego Star Wars here and there, whatever I can, because we've got some cool stuff coming for that, like I mentioned. Have a good night, and I will see you all, well, a little over 12 hours, maybe about, it's under 18 hours at this point. Alright, let's get this raid going. Alright, so yeah, it looks like he is accepting raids, so that was a concern. When I did my stream earlier, none of my musicians were on except two. Both of them blocked raids. As I was about to exit without a raid, someone else signed on, raided into them, they crashed immediately, and so there wasn't really a raid this afternoon. But here we are, able to raid out in the middle of the night, strangely enough. Have a good night, and I'll see you shortly. Good night. Good night.
Yo, EV, what's up? Lego Brick Billy. Thank you for the raid, man. Oh, no way, dude. Not singing Monica. Raiders, what's up? I'm Kryze. Thank you for coming by. Play sad songs and love songs, so.